What's up, everybody? Tommy D here. Really looking forward to showing you a lot of the work that we put together here, uh, looking at the player development of Frank Ntilikina here over the last 3 years. But before we do that, I just want to make sure that I spread the message of really getting through this pandemic and this really difficult and trying and many times or many instances horrific situation together. That's the only way that we're going to be able to get back to any semblance of normalcy, any opportunity to go out and watch a game, go to a show, be outside, just any sort of things that we used to just enjoy without repercussion. That's not the case anymore during this time. So we really need to take care of one another, and be sure that we're doing the best that we can for each other to ensure moving forward that things are going to get better. The curve is going to continue to level out, especially around here. I mean, we're in the epicenter. I'm sure many of you guys and out there know just how serious all of this is and have maybe had some impact. So I just want to make sure that before we get into the distractions that is sports and content like this, that we're all being safe and being good to one another so that we can get through this as soon as we can. And with that being said, enjoy. Putting a real sort of compare and contrast together based off of sort of the weaknesses that Draft Express had on him before he got drafted, before all the, he's going to be playing for the Knicks, and all that narrative and all they passed on Donovan Mitchell, all of that stuff. Before all that, there was really I thought, great information, as it often is, from Jonathan and Mike Schmitz from Draft Express. I really liked it before it went to ESPN because I thought they were able to do more and provide a lot of great information, but they still do that, although albeit not as much. But either way, I thought it was a non-objective look, and what I wanted to do was compare and contrast. So what we saw here over the last few weeks was not just March. These were the March numbers, but there was also some games often leading into the month of March where I feel like Ntilikina possibly could have turned a corner. And what I really wanted to do was, again, do the compare and contrast of what was said about him in 2017. Now, 2017, he's 18 years old. He's playing in the second best league in the world. That has not changed. EuroLeague and the professional league there is easily still the second best league in the world. The G League has made progress moving forward over the last couple of years, but it's still not the Premier League. It is the NBA and Euroball. So just want to be clear on that. So what they were able to discuss, or what they mentioned during this, was great feel with instincts, but still developing into a lead guard. Talking about Ntilikina, struggles a bit and versus aggressive ball pressure and pick and roll coverages. Tends to kill his dribble. Can tighten handle tentative at times. Played mostly off the ball at Strasbourg and on the ball for Team France. They got a chance to see him live in both, so I felt like those were fair criticisms and weaknesses. I really liked the last part. I didn't really consider playing off the ball, on the ball. I think if you can't play off the ball in the NBA, when you come up through the AAU ranks and the high level in the United States, so many guys can play with the ball. It's about playing off the ball. That was my biggest criticism of Dennis Smith Jr. as a prospect when the Knicks passed on him in the draft for Ntilikina, and it still continues to be one for me. He hasn't been able to develop those skills off the ball, and that's been a problem for him. So what you're going to see here in the highlights in a few minutes is how Ntilikina has been able to develop off the ball and on the ball as well. So just a couple of quick ones here. Obviously, it's not a good look getting picked at half court. This is not NBA level pressure, that he's struggling with here, or he did struggle with here a few years ago. This one was sort of a weird one for me. You don't see a lot of zone pressure at the NBA level. This is him playing for Strasbourg. I don't know the value here of showing that, but that's fine. Another weakness they talked about was pick and roll passing, and him being tentative in pick and roll and his tendency to kill the dribble. If you don't have a pick and roll big that you feel confident with making plays, and you'll see, this is a night and day type of deal. 3 years into the NBA, you're going to struggle. Here he tries to make a play. The big is not really doing much to help out the cause, and is not a threat to score. So you're going to see he saw a lot of blitzing, and just trying to jump him when he's not looking, because again, the big is just not a threat to score. He's not a shooter, not a great roller, and obviously there's not really good decision there from Frank. But you could tell that there just wasn't a lot of synergy. Fast forward 3 years later, this was a game not too long ago in Philly, a game that I really liked because you started to see some takeover ability from Ntilikina, and you started to see some real synergies with Mitchell Robinson. Here, this is what you love. This is two-man. This is the NBA game. It's not just about top pick and roll. You also have to be able to be adept inside pick and roll. And the decisiveness here, for me, is what I love the most. Getting into the gap, getting to the elbow, not messing around. Obviously, the idea here is to get Robinson a lob, but Embiid does a good job of dropping. So when you turn the corner, you can't really. I've been critical of sideline view highlight stuff here. If you were standing behind the basket, you would see that Embiid has taken a nice angle here to cause Ntilikina to make a decision. Really good screen here by Robinson, and now Embiid is thinking, I have to take away the lob, so I've got to play the angle. So you can see the right shoulder higher than the left shoulder, and forcing the action for him here left, which leaves Ntilikina a very easy decision. See how much space he has? Korkmaz is not able to get back into the play. Robinson is not ready for the pass, so there has to be some decisiveness here. And Ntilikina got to his spot, spotted up on that right foot, elevated. Look at the elevation here. That's something that we talked about, NBA legs and NBA strength. That lift, that elevation at 6'6", you're talking about something in the 8-foot range. Very difficult to guard. Korkmaz is about 6'6", 6'7", whatever he is. Cannot get a hand to defend, or at least block the shot. And an easy two. An easy two in rhythm with a really good decision. Here he is again now with Randall. And you're going to start to see a pattern here of it not just being with Robinson and not just being with Randall, but also with Gibson. He had some nice synergies with Marcus Morris. The bigs that he played with, it wasn't just he and Robinson. There was a lot of connectivity and connection that you like. Here, really nice screen by Randall. Korkmaz completely out of the play. Gets Randall a touch. Ball comes back, and this is what you really like here. He has an opportunity to take the shot. He knows Korkmaz is contesting hard. Runs him off the line, but then look at that nice step back. Yes, it's a long two, but it's in rhythm and it's a good shot. I'll take that every time. Here he is now in transition. Pass from Randall. Robinson with a really nice drag screen here. And now that looks like Shake Milton is going to go under the screen. Robinson sort of bumps him. And now he has a decision. Randall's not in play. There's not enough space for him to drive because Ben Simmons is there, which is Randall's fault. Randall needs to be in the corner. Clogs the lane, but look at what Ntilikina does. Doesn't hesitate, gets to an open spot, and makes another shot, and makes another pull-up. Really fun stuff. Here he is rejecting a screen against Gibson, finding plenty of space to step back. A nice pull-up there. 1 foot, don't love that. That can lead to some inconsistencies, but it's still a good shot and a nice make. Dribble handoff here with Robinson. Again, TJ McConnell cannot defend this. He's too small. Ntilikina gets in the paint. Very easy shot. I slowed this one down because I loved Knox there. Little Iverson cut. Again, Gibson taking Horter completely out of the play. Carter is in far too much of a drop. and Ntilikina easily saw the 1-2 step into the shot. Let's show that one again. The 1-2, left foot, right foot, gets you into nice rhythm, completely square. Elevation, no contest. Carter's too late. Knocks down a 3. That's the stuff that you really like to see. You didn't see that on his tape when he was 17 years old. Behind the back, nice little savvy bounce pass inside, off a screen, rejects it. Show that again. Defense thinks he's going to use the screen going right. Harkless moves to the dunker spot. That's this spot over here. We love to call this the dunker spot. Perfect pass against like a little mini zone here, which gets Harkless a dunk. And as a point guard, I cannot stress this enough. You get confidence from your teammates when you're able to get them dunks. If you can do that, you can be on the floor, and as long as you're knocking down shots, you're going to be a rotation player in this league. Here he is again, using a screen behind the back, gets fouled. Really good stuff here against the Hawks. Again, let's go back to the Sixers. Here's Gibson again, using the screen, getting in the lane, and there's your floater game. More weaknesses from 2017. How does he score at the NBA level? Legitimate question. More fluid than explosive. Average burst. We did start to see some more burst. Not a dynamic shooter, but if you can get his feet set in the 1-2 and the hop, he can make his shots. Struggles getting all the way to the rim. Again, we talked about this leading in. 44% over the last couple of weeks. 35% from the three-point range. 83% from the line. What you'd like to see more of is getting to the line more. But you got to take things as they come. And then we talked about the lack of floater game. So, again, to drive it home, this is a different player. It's a different player. If you run that back and see the space, again, not a great screen. You're just looking at sort of a one-on-one deal. He does need a lot of screens, so there's not a lot of creation there. But when he does have a screen, he's able to read it and make the right play. Creating space on pull-ups was a weakness. He seems to have, that's a bad shot. He seems to have figured out how to get into his spot or at his spots, which is an increasing number of spots. And to me, that's a real positive. Again, another bad shot. Turning the corner, we use this as the literal term, has he turned the corner in his career? Well, if he can turn the corner on offense, which he's not able to do there, I think you'll see that we've seen that the answer to that is at times yes. So he is then able to create for teammates and and continue his development in a positive trajectory. Opts for the finesse shot rather than exploding into contact. This is still a problem. He needs to figure out a way to get to the free throw line more. But again, we did see more. We've seen explosion. We've seen him dunk over Gobert. We've seen him have another dunk this year in Utah. We've seen him at times just be aggressive. He did try to dunk on Embiid at one point, Norvel Pelle early on in this season against the Sixers. So that leg strength is really starting to become an asset for him, as opposed to just being a tremendous weakness, which it really was. He was not able to always get into the lane. He did have to settle for sort of those kick-out passes to Porzingis, which were effective plays when Porzingis were able to make the threes, but he just doesn't have those players around him now, and but he can't rely on that. He has to be able to drive to the basket more. He has to be able to finish through contact. He has to be able to make just more natural plays from a lead guard. Again, a couple years ago, greatly improved, but three-point range, we said now he's up to 35% over the last couple weeks, which has got him to he's in the neighborhood of, I think, 30%. And if we look just more from a 32%, if we look at this shot chart a little bit more in depth, thank you, Basketball Reference, and apologies for the ads. But here he is now, more dynamic in terms of his makes. Yes, he's missed a lot of shots. There's some good action here going to the basket. Interestingly enough, shooting better on the road than at home. These numbers are pretty interesting when you look at it that way. But they were starting to balance themselves out as we've gotten closer. It's lawn season, so you can tell that Miracle-Gro is looking for me to start to buy stuff through Prime. But as you go through everything here, the numbers are starting to increase, and that is a positive. Go through a couple more here. Not great in catch and shoot here early on. Some wild misses. Again, this comes down. Catch and shoot to me, number one, is anticipation. Number two is getting your legs into the shot and being decisive. Not a strength for him whatsoever. So as we say goodbye to the 2017 analysis, thanks to Mike, thanks to Bogdan, really good job as always for those guys. But it's not all, we talk about, I've been accused of looking at a lot of Knicks things through, the rose-colored glasses or whatever. So it's not just always that, right? But he is able to get the spots, even if he's not making his shots. I don't mind those shots. To me, if you can get into these gaps, these are the shots. Once he starts to make these, these are in and out shots. These are not bricks. These are not horrible. The decision making here, I like to highlight this one because this has an impact on R.J. Barrett, and that can't happen. Ntilikina reads Sabonis as the rim defender, but still decides to make the pass when he's got RJ here. He should make that pass there. That leads to Randall clumsily trying to gather this. It was not a great pass. Now the play's dead. He's got to kick it back out to Barrett, who late in the clock has to force a three and obviously comes up short there. Not in rhythm. Listen, no shooters are going to be able to. Only the elite of the elite shooters are going to make those type of shots late in the clock. And Barrett obviously is not there yet. Catch and shoot, again, late in the clock, a play that just didn't materialize. Harkless makes the pass. Frank has to force a shot late in the clock. That's going to impact your field goal percentage. Another one here, Knox can't get all the way to the basket. Leaves his feet, has to throw the ball up. Here we are in the danger zone, and Ntilikina has to chuck one. So it's not all great. Here's another example in transition, maybe lacking a little of the explosion, does not draw the contact, just sort of fires the ball in the air. You don't want to see that. And again, just getting into the space. You got to make that shot. And I think he will continue to practice those and make those as his progress continues and his development continues. We know what he can do in the fourth quarter games at home. We've seen this now against the game's best. And what I love most about this is not only making one play, but after the timeout, one possession game, up 1 point, recognizing that Porzingis is a really poor lateral defender. What do I mean by that? I mean, he has no peripheral vision here. His thought here, because he plays against so many small, fast guards, is to get lateral, get out to the corner, out to the sideline, use the sideline as a defender. He completely loses Randall. Hardaway Jr. has to tag Randall. Ntilikina knows this. This tag. This is a really critical thing. This falls under strategy and execution and IQ. Great head call, great out of timeout call by David Fizdale, who was the coach at the time. Ntilikina knows that if he turns the corner, he's got an opportunity, but this is going to be wide open because he recognizes that Hardaway Jr. is going to tag Randall, leaving Morris wide open for the shot, putting them up 2 possessions late in the fourth quarter. Let's look at it again from this angle. I love this. Turning the corner, knowing Morris is going to be there after a perfect V cut, and we talk about this all the time, on target for a big 3. I love the Washington tape because there was a lot of takeover ability here. Again, this is now top pick and roll with Mitchell Robinson. Able to recognize space. Here comes a double. Teams are starting to recognize. In the post, a nice kick out to Bullock. If he can be surrounded by more shooters like Bullock, you're going to see a lot more assists, a lot more opportunities. Here he is, recognizes the screen with Portis. And these are simple plays. But he's able to give Portis an opportunity to go one-on-one against a not-so-great defender in Bertans, and Portis makes a play. And now he's starting to get some synergy in the game with Portis. This is what a point guard does. And now he's able to play off of Portis when he has space to knock down a shot. This is really cool stuff. I enjoyed watching this game. I know everybody wants to talk about the other game, the 20-10 game, but just setting guys up and the takeover ability for me. Here he is, an up and under. Now he's really starting to play with confidence. The bench is starting to feel. Let's run that one back before we sort of close it out. Up and under, and look at the bench get involved. Elfrid Payton, probably one of his biggest fans, RJ Barrett. People just starting to recognize that, you know what? Here he is. Here's a kid who has an opportunity to really be a good player in this league as long as he's able to continue to develop. And again, you look at these numbers, and, that's where you start to say to yourself, this is a guy, this is a young man who's still just 21 years old and is in a position to be a really solid rotation player in this league for a long time. The Knicks are going to have to make a decision on what they want to do with him, and we'll see what happens here, hopefully sooner before later. As always, appreciate you guys. Thank you for your follow. Please continue to stay, again, vigilant with the process and what's going on right now, and look forward to catching up to you guys real soon. Have a great day and be safe.